thinner than the others, but because he's thinner, he has much more to prove to the others, which is why he's kind of conflicted towards the end of the concept of health, is because he has so much more that he needs to build back up.
That's what I want. That's what I want to know. Along with Federico, does he have life on him? You know what it looks like when someone has life in their face, when they've lived life, when they've gone through it. So they have lifelines, not older, but lifelines. You've seen kids and you've been like, man, he has really been through it. And he's not even like 21 yet. And so does Federico have these lifelines that are just telling this story of this life that he's lived?
Yes, yeah.
That's what I want.
That's where one of the inspirations itself came from, was that it's a common occurrence for individuals down here, even by the age of 14, 15, to be going through stuff just like this. So in just growing up in itself in that kind of environment, I have met individuals who are 14, 15 who have had, like you said, life on them, who have been through hazing rituals, who have been at the site of murders and stuff because of just their location, the wrong place, wrong time and stuff. But I never looked at it that way. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Real quick, let me just jump in
for
1 quick second. Hey, Andrew. Just wanted to jump in 1 quick second. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We got started a little late here. There's a technical glitch. I was actually live on the wrong Get It Made channel. There's two. Unfortunately, one of them needs to be deleted because it's so confusing. But I did not know until a message was sent to me. But the thing is we just got started on the breakdown. So I just want to quickly say to everybody what this is the December 2019 breakdown of the winning script. Miss Nadine Marissa from The Walking Dead is here to give us her professional opinion on the material. We have Mr. Andrew Belcher from Laredo, Texas. Did I say that right, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah. He's on the line, GIMx member. We're getting ready to break down his script. It's going to be sort of a general overview of screenwriting from an actor's perspective, but also from just a human perspective and why we make movies, why we want to see this, why, to inspire us to think a little bit more deeply about the subject matter that we're choosing to make our movies about. That's a big thing that sort of came up with Andrew's script as well. So we're going to sort of to zoom through this, and without further ado, we're going to let Miss Marissa take it away.
I'm going to just recap just a little bit because me and Andrew had the pleasure of talking a little bit before you guys tuned in. But he has wrote a beautiful script called Machista, which is kind of loosely based, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, on kind of the gang culture. Dealing with a couple of Hispanic men in the gang culture. And we started just by kind of briefly going over the specifics of his characters. He has characters, and two of the characters, of the main characters, we really want them to be specific. I need him to describe them more to us of what they look like, where they're from, what their body is. I'm a firm believer in energy. I'm a believer that every character breathes energy in a place. If a nurse may breathe energy, she may hold her energy in her shoulders because she's moving with her shoulders a lot. Someone else may hold energy in their hands because they fidget a little bit more. That's where their energy goes. So they talk a lot with moving their hands. So finding where those characters hold their energy is going to be very important for you, as well as for us in understanding those characters. Like we talked about before, this is a description of who they are, what they look like, as well as adding things in the script. And I know I'm going back for you, Andrew, but adding things in the script that push the story or don't. Just so you guys can just kind of get an idea. Andrew opens his script with I love the idea of this, a card with the description, the definition, not description, the definition of machista, right? Machista, yeah. And one of the descriptions says domination of women. And it's a strong, exaggerated sense of masculinity and some other things. And then it says domination of women. And one of the feedback I shared with him was the fact that when you put something, it has to push the story, or it has to let me know that something is coming from that. Why is that important? Does a woman come later on and kind of spin this on its head? Or will I see the reason why that needs to be there? Especially because at this point, that's the first thing the audience sees. So women will automatically understand that they're going to be disrespected. But can it be, what is the point of that other than being just dominated? Is it something comes from the end and a woman just kind of flips it all up? Or maybe it's for the love of a woman that someone doesn't do this anymore. You know, some reason why that's put there. And we talked about that, Andrew. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I know I talked with Matt about, was there was some actions placed in the script that I didn't understand specifically who was doing the action and even how the action was done. So if we go to page 2.
Real quick, also, Andrew, just right at the beginning, I know you tried to set the stage with like a particular song, but if nobody else gets the reference, it's sort of a wasted sentence, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And also, you know, you don't know who's going to direct it, so camera direction, things like high angle on, or like or like we see, these kinds of things are more like for a director's shooting script or something. You know what I'm saying? More than a screenplay. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. No, absolutely. On to the second page, down at the bottom, it just has a slap. I'm not clear who makes that slap or how is the slap done. Is it an open fist? Is it a backhand? Is it
and who is being slapped?
Yeah, and who's being slapped? I wasn't sure if Federico was doing the slapping or if he was being slapped, or what is the purpose of him doing the slap? Is it because he knows the trouble's coming, or he knows what this means, that this didn't happen? Does he regret that slap? Does it, because he knows what's coming? So it's kind of a couple different things came to mind. So being very specific on what that action is and who's doing the action lets me picture what's happening.
Also, Andrew, here's some formatting things too. Like in the middle of page 2, it just randomly says cut to as a transition between two action lines or description lines. You would usually use a transition to go to another scene. So we would either need to know if there was passage of time, or did they go to a new location, or what? Because if not, you can just, if there was, it's like a separation of two ideas. But anyways, figuring out when to use proper formatting, like the transitions, it'll let you format the script any way you want to. Like you can, but usually transitions like cut to, you would go to a completely new scene with a new slug line, interior, exterior, where you are, what time of day, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that one was a little tricky because I was trying to just showcase a lapse in time more so than anything. So I think it's a misuse in that sense.
Okay. And moving on, one of the things I'm really and you'll find most actors are very funny about is just how well you had me doing research. I'm going to tell you that because I was wondering about there's a scene where they talk about bringing in someone in a body bag, and I'm going to tell you why I did the research. It's because I did not believe the body bags are breathable. People can suffocate in body bags. And I just learned that 2 years ago, they came out with a body bag that is now leak proof. So no air can get in or out. So if someone is living in, or someone is being held in a body bag, they would suffocate already. Which lead me to believe that there couldn't be someone that's alive in them. And it's weird that we do that, but we pick at stuff like that because what happens is when an audience sees it, they immediately go, oh, well, that wouldn't happen. And then they don't go to the director or the writer. They'll go, well, the actor should have known that and that happens often.
So suspension of disbelief
goes
away.
Yes.
They're unable to do it.
Yes.
Even though they know movies aren't real, you still want to believe that it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like sometimes the audience will be stuck on it for the next like.
They will be, and they'll miss the whole next thing that happened because they're like, what? You know. So
And
yes.
especially with so much content out there and so much competition for your attention.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And so that was one thing.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, in that scenario, I believe it was just more. In my head, it was more a garbage bag than anything. So I believe just switching that over to a garbage bag rather than a body bag would probably help alleviate that.
You can.
Because it wasn't necessarily,
Now, people can still suffocate from garbage bags as well.
Yeah.
What I would challenge you to do is if you're trying to put fear that this is what this person is capable of doing, now's the time to go look at some of the cartel. Find out what the cartel did. Find out what things were some of the where people come up missing. There's all type of ways, not just in, maybe the person's rolled in on a, what are those, what is the thing where you pack boxes from one room to another? I know this is crazy. You know what
I can visualize it if I can't.
Yes. What are those things called, Andrew? You know what they are. Where you can put boxes on it and like take it to the car.
Wheelbarrow?
Not a wheelbarrow, kind of like a dolly.
Dolly.
You know what I mean? Something kind of like that. You know what I mean? Something that is really going to set what this means. Has he done this often? Is this what has Frederico ever seen this happen before? So he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Why is he scared of this person? To build up that. I love the idea of calling your kind of nemesis 38. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved it if it was a woman. Just because I'm a woman.
No, just because it would have been a nice, fresh spin.
It would have been, because we are badasses too. I'm not gonna lie. There are some women have been some of the cutthroats.
Oh yeah.
I've seen some stories.
Have you seen The Wire?
Crazy. Yes.
Remember the second and third season? What was her name again? That would always.
I don't remember.
But she had the nail gun.
Yes.
She'd kill people and then put them up in the houses and just take the nail gun and put them up in the boards in the windows. Put the bodies in the boards in the windows.
Yeah. There's some women, just to give it a fresh feel. Totally up to you. I get it that this is not your reality of what you know, but just saying to kind of give it a fresh feel of how much scarier is that shit.
And also, you gotta nowadays, we all have to start thinking about if we were everybody.
I guarantee there's an abuela somewhere that is going ham on somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Going ham.
I'm telling you. 38's language. One of the things that you did when you built him up, and language is so important for me because it's consistent with how this person is. 38 went from saying single words for people to understand what he meant, right? On page 3. I don't know if you're looking at the script while I'm looking at it.
No, but I know exactly.
Okay. There's a point where he says hands now, body, knees. I'm guessing for someone to show him those things. And it's just one word. There's no please, there's no show me, there's no nothing. It's just his specific words, right?
Yeah.
And then on the next page, he says, you want to be on this line, you do what you must, period. And then he goes, show me you're a man, show me I can trust you. And what bothered me about that was this is the same man who yelled out single words.
Yeah.
And so my thought was, why would he now say, show me, I need you to show me this. I need you to prove me this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And even is, what made me think too is 38 has not addressed, let's see, Angel at all. He's been addressing Frederico. So is Angel even important enough for him to address? Because he hasn't addressed him thus far. So I could see him saying, so this is your guy, this is who you pick, this is who, you know what I mean? Like, this is what you want to do, this is who I'm supposed to trust, this is who, whatever. He hasn't been talking to him all this time. So to now talk to him for the first time, and to this younger guy who didn't do what he said do, he says, show me you're a man, show me I can trust you. That language isn't consistent with what you built for me before.
Yeah, I can completely see that now.
Gotcha. But I love that. Yeah, I think that was it. I do love the battle between them, where he says, "Your trigger or mine? One bullet for a traitor, or two for the both of you." I like that. I felt that. I was like, okay. And even the counting down was like, he is sweating. I could imagine in my head, I could picture eyes jetting back and forth. Like, what do I do? What do I, the tenseness on his face. Like, this is crazy. It really does linger. I need you to spell it out for me more though. I need to know this kid is sweating. I need to know he's fidgeting. I need to know what's, what's happening here,
And also, Andrew, I would warn against too, like staying away from prose, like truncated sentences. Like if you're saying, which only serves to anger, his life flashing before his eyes. I don't know how, as a director, I would actually make that, film that. That would be like an entire VFX sequence or something that would take up 20 seconds of screen time. That would require 60 assets of pictures of him when he was young and all this stuff. It's just, it unpacks into this giant thing where it just effortlessly rolled off your fingers without a second thought.
Something as simple as like a picture of, he pictures his mom, he pictures anything, he pictures his,
a picture of his mom flashes before you can really specific, choose the moment for us, choose what it is, choose the image for us. You know what I mean? And then, Angel stands wide-eyed, a mere shell of his former self. Again, a mere shell of his former self doesn't give me any visual context.
Because we don't know what he did
before.
I
don't know who he was before. Yeah. As though, although like it sounds like an intriguing arrangement of words that would lead into the next chapter of a novel. You know what I'm saying? But for a screenplay, the prose only serves to confuse. Serves to anger, serves to confuse.
And that's something I've been trying to work on recently as well, is the difference in being descriptive enough while attempting to avoid those kind of sentences as well with description, rather than showing the internal in the external. Again, something I've been working on a lot recently. So I can totally see how that would be confusing towards the reader as well.
I will tell you, one of the best things that I've seen some writers do, and even in learning how to start to write myself, what I've learned is there's nothing wrong with making character sheets, writing down this character, what they wear, what their fears are, what their strengths are, what is their habit that they do. And it gives you a reference of where to go anytime you're writing for them. So if they're angry, what did I say they did when they're angry? Oh, they bite their lip, or they do this. Or, if 38 breathes out of his nose heavy and you see his nostrils flare, I know when he's pissed or he's angry, this is what happens. So it gives you a place to go back, and you don't have to think about, oh, he's angry because of this. Because what happens sometimes when you don't have character sheets is all your characters start to do the same thing. Without even going, oh, that's him. You want people to look at this and read it, and when you bring it to life, to go, oh, you're an angel. Oh, you're a 38, or I'm a this, I'm a that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think that.
Go ahead.
That's something I never really thought about. That was attributing external gifts to their internal thoughts, and I think that's something I've been trying to work on as well. So that's really great advice to build it in that sense, because that does lend towards seeing their feelings play out rather than having to write down their feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself, when you do that, you'll find yourself looking, going, he wouldn't do that. Okay, that might not have bothered him as much,
Absolutely, yeah.
And a lot of people in power, I don't know very many that show anger. It's almost like a smugness that I've always seen. And it could be a different choice that you make, but people that are in power very rarely let other people know when they've been bothered.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like showing that hand. I'm not gonna show you that you got me.
Mhm.
You know. So like I said, I think you have a great idea. I would love to see what this looks like after you've taken it and kind of done some more maneuvering with it. And tell me why this is. Was this an initiation gone wrong? Was this supposed to be his approval for something that he let happen? I don't know if he let something happen before and his approval was doing this thing, and when he didn't do it, this is what he's now facing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's a strong, from what I'm getting, it's a strong like turn in the road to go from not beating up a pole to now you have to kill somebody. Somewhere something was lost in translation where something big happened and I just don't know. You know what I mean? Whether he was a lookout and didn't look out or something happened.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, it's awesome to let us into the world of a gang member. You know, have you ever seen End of Watch? I mean, it's like there's just endless stories in that world, you know. But if you're going to dive into a world like that, you know, you're going to want to make sure you know what you're talking about. You're going to make sure that you do a little bit of research. Like, you know, for instance, I wrote a movie called The Container, and it's about a group of North African migrants who are stuck in a shipping container.
Oh my God. Okay.
And but I did like 2 years of research, and I had one of my main contacts was head of the Libyan Red Cross in Benghazi.
Oh,
and so I, you know, was led to him, and then another woman who was a survivor of migrant from Eritrea, which is like
Eritrea. Yeah,
they're like the North Korea. It's like it's like the North Korea of Africa. You know, you're not allowed to leave. You can't just leave the country. So I did a lot of research, and then I waited 2 years, you know, did a bunch of stuff and figured out, felt like I knew what I was talking about. And then I wrote it, and I got an 8 on the blacklist.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I think that's important to hear what he's saying. Even though he's saying it took him 2 years, if it's something, I know Laredo, Texas. I was born in Houston, raised in Houston, and then did several years in between San Antonio and Dallas. So I know gang life there. Not saying I know it. I wasn't down like that. I wasn't down like that. But I do know that there's a heavy gang violence that's there. There's heavy, you know, for just protection. You know what I mean? And I would challenge you too to create these gang members for us. Let us know who looks like what. Who is the gang member that doesn't care? Who's the one that's kind of like, look, you know, I get it. Who's the one with the heavy accent, or who's the one that's the, you know?
Who's the one who's got a bunch of crappy tattoos all over his left arm? You know,
who's the one that would be the snitch? Stuff like that lets us know.
Yeah,
you know,
idiosyncrasies.
Yeah,
it builds out a 3D character. You know, yeah.
And that way, when you're looking at it and you're filming it, you got an idea of who these people are. Oh, that's the one that sits back. That's the one that does this, or you know. If 38 travels, does he travel with his henchmen? What does his henchmen look like? Are they the upper level of this? Is this, you know, I think you have a very cool idea. I would love to see more on that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm very glad that you're saying it as well, because hearing it out loud, it does make me realize that a lot of these characters do possess those attributes that you're detailing. It's just, I believe I'm too close to the world to not describe them accurately enough.
Gotcha.
So pulling back the curtain and diving back into it, that'll definitely help me out a lot. That's really great advice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and also sometimes, Andrew, it's nice to step away from a concept that you feel like you might be a little bit too close to, and then right outside the lines. In my late 20s, I always wrote about my childhood. So it was like from 25 to 30, like all my scripts were about my childhood, and I wondered why no one wanted to read them. I was like, it was like this. I took the line, write what you know.
Yeah.
To literally, you know what I mean? And I really started making lots of progress when I helped used my ability to help tell other people's stories. You know, like this North African migrant story is based on true stories, and I wanted to see how I could do. And then I wrote a faith-based film called New Church. You know, but I wrote that with somebody else, and you know what I mean. And all of those have been packaged more industry standard than any of my other previous stuff, because I think that there's more longevity and buoyant energy to keep it afloat, as opposed to like nobody wants to read this like sort of selfish dribble.
Sometimes if you write from the hurtful place, you live in the hurt, so you don't see the light.
Yes.
Or just the journey. You miss the journey because it's it's that. I will tell you what I do often too, Andrew, is you can write a paragraph of what someone's life is for the day. What does Angel do all day? What does he normally do? This is the schedule of what he does. This is what this person does. This is what Federico wanted to do. This is what he did. This is, to give you an idea of these people, because you have no idea how sometimes in writing in that format, or even recording yourself with that and going, oh, this is the day maybe he took his kid to the circus, and now that could be a memory that later on when you write and he's thinking about memories, he has a memory of his kid's smile at the circus. He's never going to see that again. But you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't run what he did that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it takes time. I wrote something and someone once told me, oh, that's nice. You got like 10 more versions. I was like, oh my God, so you, and not saying you have 10, but I'm saying that it's a good start. It is definitely a good start. And I think you're in the right place to do it. Get It Made is it's giving you a lot of tools to really help format this correctly, and just, ask questions and go to this board and get all kind of information,
Well, I appreciate the time, Andrew. I know that you are a couple hours ahead of us. And, screenwriting and becoming a screenwriter, becoming a filmmaker it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
It is. Everything is a marathon. Being an actor is a marathon.
Yeah. And, there are those few who come out of nowhere every year that we all model ourselves after, or chase and aspire to be. But at the same time, I think that with enough tenacity and dedication and faith, that we all could have the opportunity one day to have the shot to see if our voice is loud enough to be heard, but not with a DSLR and your buddies in the backyard. I mean, that's not your voice. That's your voice through a bunch of crappy filters, and you can't really hear. And you know what I mean? Really, a real shot. And I think being able to do something like 5 pages, and make it really, really good and tell a story in that time is going to be the most beneficial thing possible, because now if you can do that, now you just start stacking scenes on top of each other.
Absolutely.
Start weaving them together. Boom, boom, boom. You got to keep the reader's attention every 5 pages.
And you can write scenes that aren't even in here if you know that they're going to be, they're going to be included in it eventually. And it's just like he said, putting something together and doing it correctly and getting it out there. I've always been told you can't control the situation of what's happening right now, but if you can control all the things ahead of it, so when that chance does call, you have something that you've already worked on. If I want to work on this particular movie or that particular movie, then I have to figure out who cast that. I have to figure out, how do I get in that casting room? I have to figure out, okay, are they giving casting classes? Is this happening? I might not be able to control if I can get in that audition right away, but I can control my headshots. I can control my resume. I can control what classes I take. So if I do by chance get there, I'm already there. You know what I mean?
You're 10 steps ahead.
Yes.
Like that.
Well, Andrew, I hope this was valuable. I wish I had something like Get It Made when I was in film
We
school
all
because
went
I
there.
am
I was
still
younger.
paying for my student loans.
Me too.
$100,000. Dude, it's like 18-year-old kids like, yeah, they sure,
Take
you
my
know.
life.
Yeah.
Take my life.
Take my
I
money.
know. Yes, I know.
Ay, ay, ay.
Was there any questions you had for us, Andrew?
No, not really, because I all of the questions that I was going to ask you, you answered them throughout the script, so
Oh wow.
I'm kind of left with no questions. Yeah.
Well, Andrew, you know, the journey's, the destination's in the journey, or whatever that is. Does anybody online have anything to say before we go?
Oh yeah. Hey guys, like there's a whole like
There's some people, it's 13.
hoopla people out there. Hey guys. We're gonna start calling out. What's some names out here? Mark
Let's see, we
and
got
Jason.
This is actually Joanne Strickland, not Raisin.
Raisin Cane.
Hey.
I love Raisin Cane. I miss it from Texas.
Oh, this is
I
Mark,
miss a Whataburger too.
Mark Anthony
Mark
Rabbit.
Anthony.
Mark, ask us a question. Nadine's here. We got time for one question, unless two people type a question. Can you hear me, Mark? Oh, he went to sleep. He's in Canada. I think he went to sleep. This was great.
Thanks, Jason.
Jason's cool. Jason actually hits us up on the fly. Like he'll be working and he'll put his phone down and then he'll be like, boom, listening to us.
That's good.
Don't have one question. You guys didn't miss much of the top. It was just literally a bunch of me rambling. But I will stick it on the head of this anyway. But this is cool, man. I'm getting ready to get a live stream kit. So the audio and the picture quality is going to drastically jump up. And there's going to be 2 cameras for every one of these videos. And we're also going to have a solid single studio to sit at. So it's quite possible that place might be at Paramount Pictures. We will soon find that out. Who knows? But
I love Paramount. I like that studio.
so we might find ourselves a home there. Who knows? But we have a home here as well. It would just be a nice big old home at Paramount. So, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna go to sleep. I know you guys are probably tired, unless you guys are night owls. But so yeah, every month a new Hollywood professional will come in and break down a winning script. So get your scripts in by the 24th of January, please, because we use the last 10 days of the month to read and score. And then
and this is awesome. I'm gonna be back because I love this.
yeah, exactly. We're gonna be doing this, you know, as often as we can. And then eventually, you know, we are going to do add-ons and things like that, where people can go to a site and actually, you know, book time with Hollywood professionals that are either resident ambassadors or what is it?
Hollywood Pro.
Thanks, Hollywood Pro.
Thank you, Sylvie.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Take it
Guys.
easy. Good night.
Keep writing.
Good night from Los Angeles, guys. Bye. Yes, I do want to end now. Hang on. It's still going.